Stand clear of the closing doors, please. Of the closing doors, please.
It's alive!
Transfer is available.
The next and last stop is...
You're tuning into the SubwayCreatures. You're tuning into the
Welcome! Week 2! SubwayCreatures podcast.
The next and last stop.
You got it going. Are you going to fade out of this or what?
I'm about to bust
Here
a
we go.
flow.
All right, it's still going.
Yo,
We're just going to...
Oh.
We'll
All
put that
right.
on
turn the beat up
loop
in my headphones.
forever.
I'm about to bust a flow. Oh God, I feel it in my bones.
The producers with the comedic timing over there. Jesus, you guys are good.
Week 2. And Freddie's already at it.
Yo.
It's going to be a problem, this intro.
This flow.
We're going to have to do some old
It's
folk
coming.
music.
Wait for it. Yo. Okay, hold on. Well, I'll wait later. I'll wait till later.
Are you sure? Because
Yeah, wait till later.
it sounded like you were ready to go.
Yeah,
How
y'all
about we
not
wait
ready.
till never?
Y'all not ready for this hot fire that I got.
Let's save it.
Yeah,
let's
I'm
save it and
excited.
then put out a whole
Actually,
SubwayCreatures mixtape.
that's
No,
not a
just
bad
one
idea.
song that's like 15 minutes long.
There you
And
go.
R. Kelly.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
So week 2, the second episode. I just want to real quickly thank everyone who listened to the first episode
Shout out
and
to
left
you.
reviews, and it was awesome. Big turnout on that. So we're very excited because this is just the start. So keep spreading the word, everyone,
Yeah, please
Yeah.
tell us why you hate us. Get in those comments and tell us why you hate us.
or tell us why you love us.
Yeah.
They can do
I
that too.
prefer the love.
People love to say why they hate you. They love to.
I love to see why they love me, though.
I prefer that.
Get on
I love
there.
your face, but I prefer that.
Yeah, I really don't want anyone to hate me, and I don't want to hear why they hate me.
I
They can
hate
go
myself
fuck
enough
themselves.
for all of us, you guys. No, you guys fucking turned out for this podcast. You guys have been subscribing, reviewing.
Yeah, and I've never
tweeting
done a
about
podcast
it.
before, so I was asking these guys in the studio, what to really compare it to, and they were like, "You're off to a very quick start."
Yeah.
This is going to be huge. So
Yeah.
very excited about that, and shouts to everyone who did download, subscribe, and listen
Yes.
to the first episode.
Yeah.
Freddie, when we left off, did anyone send you any DMs? We're requesting some nasty DMs from you. People to send them to you. Did you end up getting any?
I got a few, but the one that I'm most happiest about is I got one from your mama. So
That's true, you guys. If you're listening, Rick's mom
it's pretty impressive.
heard the what were we calling them? Weird titties?
Creepy too.
Creepy titties. My mom sent me a text after listening to the first episode, and she goes, "Hey, what is Freddie's handle? I want to send him creepy titties." And I go, "Okay, Mom, that's not happening." I go, "Freddie has officially been let go from the show."
Right. All I can say about that is, put the camera on me. Where the camera? Ballin'. Yes.
Yeah. Rick actually we're all in a group text, and Rick texted the group a screenshot of his mom being like, "Hey, what's Freddie's handle? I want to send him creepy titties." And then Rick just sent that to the group and wrote, "Fuck you, Freddie," which is so funny.
Yeah, and
I'm just trying to get in the family, man.
I blame you guys for this for even bringing it up, because I actually wound up getting a very weird DM myself.
Oh my gosh.
That I ended up sending over to Freddie. I'm like, this is the type of shit that I am not going to look forward to.
It's
Bruh,
so
the
unfair.
the
You get
DM
that, and he gets your mom.
That.
The DM that you got as head of the black delegation, I'm like, you don't need to accept his friend request. You might need to block him as head of the black delegation. You need to block him. Right
I'm like,
now.
obviously I look through my DMs daily, regularly, because that's where all the content comes from.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's one from Big Brown Durag or something like that.
It was big something brown rag. I remember the last one was brown rag.
Big brown rag.
Ew,
And I was
that's
like,
such a
okay,
disturbing
whatever.
name already.
Go in, big ass black dude with his shirt off, just ready to talk. And I was like, oh,
like that's
block,
one thing
block.
that scares the hell out of me. Any dude that don't have a shirt on, if we not at the pool or the beach, you don't have your shirt on, I'm scared and I'm confused and I need to know what's going on. I don't trust that. It don't matter who you are.
Yeah, it's strange
anywhere.
to just have your shirt off.
Yeah, like why is your shirt off, sir?
Let's not make this a reoccurring thing, people. I really don't need that shit, and there's no way to really.
Wait, what
regulate
did he
it.
write to you again?
Well, I blocked him after that. Because,
Well, what did he write? Just because?
No, there was no writing. It was he wanted to live chat. I'm like, motherfucker, this is not chat roulette.
Oh,
you
come
can't
on,
come
let him live
swinging
chat with
through.
you.
Yeah, how do you think that would play out?
I made the mistake of going live on Instagram. You know how people can join you on your thing, and I let someone join me during my live, and the dude, he like was shocked that I accepted, and he was like this. And then he just ran to the back of the room and he stood there and I was like, what's going to happen? Everyone's like, what's happening? The chat's like, what's happening? And he just started taking all of his clothes off. He got butt naked and he just started jacking off. Like as quickly as he could. Like he was like trying to come in 10 seconds.
Oh my!
And I was
he's
like,
trying to Louis C.K. you. Oh my god!
I was like too invested in like the story at this point. Now it's entertaining for all of us. Now I'm like, I don't mind being Me Too as long as like it's happening to at least 100 other people.
It's us too. It's
us too. Like we're all getting molested together here visually. And like so he ran to the back of the room and he sings to the closet and the whole time I'm going, no, not the shirt, no, not the pants, no, not the underwear. And then like so I gave him the moment he wanted, unfortunately, and I learned from that.
Jesus Christ. Well,
I would have fired him up.
We got a great show on tap for you today after all that. Jesus Christ. Well, in all seriousness, we are going to answer some of your questions, one of which, how often are the subway cars cleaned? We're going to dig into the comment section, as always, and we even have a special guest, Nick Heller, swings by. And also, this just in, which is quickly becoming my favorite segment on this show, because you guys don't get to see the clips. You are not going to want to miss this segment today, because I got a special one for you guys.
All right.
But first and foremost, I need to give a big apology to the guy who created the intro for us. Last week, I gave him a very improper shout out. I called him Unsung Beats because I wrote it down stupidly, incorrectly, and his name is Sung Beats. So go to Sung Beats. Sung Beats, I am very sorry about that, by the way.
I'm never going to spell it.
SUNGBEATS. Sung Beats.
Okay, that sounds.
Check him out. He is a beatboxer. He's always in the subway. He's actually extremely talented. And he did that whole intro for us, which I can't thank him enough. So
Shout
the
out
least
to him.
he deserves is a proper shout out.
Sung
It's
Beats.
also a fucking incredible intro. It gets me hyped every time.
It really does. It gets us going. It
This
gets
is
Freddie
page right
going.
here.
Yeah.
If you're watching us, you can see his website. So you can go to his website, check him out.
Shit.
There you go, Sung. I hope.
Some Beats got that fucking website. Holler at me with
I
your website,
really hope
man.
that I hope that this is going to give you tons of attention, and thank you guys for pulling that up in the back,
Sung
because this is the least I could do for him after that intro.
Oh, so it's not like sung. I thought it was like sung as in like because he's using his voice and he's singing.
I think it's one of those double
entendres.
Yeah.
Because he's Asian.
and
I
his
just
name,
saw
yeah,
that. So his name probably is Sung too. Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's
dope.
either true or racist.
Could be. But I know a lot of Sungs. So
Are they all Asian?
yes.
Okay, well there you go.
Okay, it's true then.
Before we get into anything else, I would love to talk about the clip of the week. This one is possibly the clip of the year.
It looks like
It is a man who gives
Did you
his...
see what you just did? This one, you like cleared your arms out. This one is pretty serious.
Well, this is an awesome video. I don't think a video has ever done better than this on my account before as far as likes and engagement. It was over the top. It is a man who's playing a video game on his phone. I'm assuming it's a video game. And there's a little kid looking over his shoulder who's really getting into it. And the guy realizes, and he gives the little kid his phone to
so cute.
play out the game. We got that video.
Yeah, it's super dope.
Let's play the first part here.
This little angel baby.
And if you follow the account, you know exactly what I'm talking about because this thing went super viral. And it's so cute.
It's really cute.
It is.
And this little boy's outfit,
This kid is like
he's dressed like one of those kids like in the olden days that used to clean chimneys. You know what I'm saying? His little like he looks like a little like
With the hat.
yes, or like a little
chimney sweepers.
Yes,
yeah.
he's like so cute.
He is. And then the guy gives him his phone. He's like, you know what, kid? Have the phone. Just, you know what would be weird, though? If all of a sudden this guy just starts getting, like weird texts or, like, videos start popping up on his phone.
That's what I was
nude.
thinking about when he gave him the phone. I would have been like, wait, let me check what's on here first.
Well, you know what? You know why I give him even more credit? You know nowadays how people, like, to give someone your phone, let them hold your phone? There's this weird thing that,
He's
like...
so disconnected. He's looking around. He's like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not doing it for the camera. He has no idea he's even being filmed.
Yeah.
He's super chill.
He's super chill, and he's such a nice guy. So it makes sense why, you know, the big comment on that video was, if this guy's not married, he's going to be after this video comes out because every chick is probably loving it right now.
I have a boyfriend, and I looked up his Instagram handle. I was like, let's check this guy out.
Well, this was another one of those things where I really wanted to find out who this guy was, you know, if he even recognizes that he's getting all of this attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to get in touch with his neighbor.
What?
His neighbor.
His neighbor, because the guy saw him on the account, and he reached out, and he's like, he calls him Sandro. I guess that's the guy's name. That's Sandro. He's my neighbor. I'm like, well, listen, you got to get me in touch with Sandro because I want to at least let him know that he's on the account and he's getting all this positive, you know, publicity. And then on top of that, I have a lot of questions I want to ask him.
Right.
But unfortunately, Sandro does not check his social media very often. I sent him a message, and then I looked, and his the last video he posted was like all the way back in like April or something.
I believe it. Like, he gave him his phone. He literally was like, all right, whatever. Like, you can tell, like, he used his phone to call, to play games, and maybe to text.
Yeah.
That's
and
it.
it was one of those moments in New York subway history that you were so glad it got caught on camera because stuff like this happens a lot, but it's not always caught on. And you always see the negative stuff. It was finally good to see some positive stuff on the SubwayCreatures account because, you know, everything's usually creepy, weird, strange. And this was actually one of those ones. It was very heartwarming. Yeah. Exactly.
I'm surprised because I'm looking at the little boy and I can see myself as a little boy. He looked like he was sitting next to his grandmother. And
that's what I was going to bring up. She's
just letting him just be all in this other man's phone. My grandma would have been like, you don't sit your black ass back before I knock you in the mother next week.
My mom would have been like, give that phone back to him.
Yeah, and he would have gave me the phone. She'd be like, I'm so sorry, sir. Hey, he doesn't know how to hold phones.
He's a beggar.
Give him his phone back before so I'm surprised I even got to that. I'm like, what is grandma doing? Grandma looking like, thank God I ain't got to deal with him for right now. For these 2 minutes.
I don't even know, like, who knows if that woman was even with that little boy. Then, I mean,
that
she
is
was
true.
so...
We are all making assumptions here.
Yeah, that is very true.
This is New York 2018. That kid probably swiped himself in and, you know, was heading up to his boy's house.
He's so
that kid might have a
cute.
job.
He was
that
really
little boy
cute.
is so
you know what it
cute.
is? It's also like his feet are just swinging
He's
on the
like
bench.
a poster for a cute child.
It really is.
He looks like one of the little rascals, like what little kid, like
Yes.
early in the
And
days
which one would
just,
that
like,
be?
I don't know.
Otay.
Otay.
He looked like a new age Little Rascals. They really like integrated this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like when they're trying to make the Little Rascals more diverse.
Right.
He looks like the
Little
new
Rascals.
alfalfa.
More like Fast and the Furious.
Little Rascals do New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just riding the subway, you know, but it was really sweet. Like you said, it was heartwarming, and, you know, I don't say that a lot
It was
at all
very
in general.
sweet. And that guy is going to get laid.
Well, you hope so. I mean, I hope someone sees him on the street and recognizes him, and they're like, you're the guy in the video. But he's going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because he doesn't use social media, and I only hope that he reaches out to me so I can
Wait,
point
what
that
did
out
the
to him.
neighbor say?
So the neighbor's like, he's an awesome dude. He lives in my building. I was like, can you just like go to his door and like knock and tell him like, hey, people are
gone
trying
viral?
you've gone viral. People are trying to get in touch with you. He's like, oh, you know, I don't know if I'm going to see him or not. I'm like, please, like, I'm doing a podcast in a day or two. Like, can you please get me in touch with this guy?
Does he live in New York?
He's like, you know, I really got to respect his privacy because I don't know if he wants to be like, I'm like, but how are we ever going to know that? Let him tell you that.
Yeah.
Right.
He should just be like, hey, bro, someone got in touch with me. They know we're
Exactly. You be the
neighbors.
filter.
You're viral. I don't know
Yeah.
if you want me to tell them that I know you.
Exactly.
And that's all you have to do. But yeah, man, that sucks because
Exactly.
I want to find out more about him.
Oh, I had a ton of questions I wanted to ask him. You know, what he was he playing something? Was he, you know, I'm assuming it's a game, but he could have been watching a movie. You know, I don't.
He might have been playing Fortnite. Fortnite is on Android now.
Well, who knows these days? Because you have everything at your fingertips on these phones. So who knows? So that was the viral video of the week / possibly year. Let's put it at the top of the list.
It's really
it's
good.
going to be hard to top that, but you know what? I never put it past New York. There's always, just when you think you've seen it all, New York is the gift that keeps giving. And next week we'll have something that's completely outrageous.
New York is the herpes of America.
The gift that keeps giving. There you go.
If you think herpes is a gift. Depends on your perspective. Some days, I guess it is if like you get herpes and the chick that you have a crush on has herpes, then it's a gift.
We're in this together, babe.
Or you thought you had AIDS, and they're like, nope, it's not AIDS, it's
herpes.
herpes.
Then it's a gift. Yeah. Thank God.
Right, exactly. It's a gift then.
I don't know. These days, wouldn't you want AIDS more than herpes? I mean, they pretty much cured that, haven't they?
HIV.
Well, looking at Magic.
think-
looks like
Magic's walk. Oh, wait, he was HIV though. He wasn't AIDS. He was HIV positive.
Right. I mean, but you know, HIV leads to AIDS, I thought. But in his
does.
case, HIV leads to a couple of
$1 billion and a couple of sports teams.
teams, LeBron James, and
They're
a great life.
injecting-
I'm like,
they're
what
inject-
HIV did you get, Magic? Can you bottle that and sell that?
They're starting to
Take a little
inject
sip.
dead HIV into cancer people, and it's killing it.
Really?
Isn't that interesting?
God.
Real quick, off
Cancer is killing the
off
HIV?
the paper facts.
I
I
had
know
no
a little
idea.
girl from my hometown. She got injected with, don't quote me on this, but it was something like dead HIV, not AIDS, HIV cells, and they would eat the cancer instead of attacking the other bloodstreams.
Well, that was really rolling the dice, huh? Let's
Yeah.
just
Here it
inject
is right
this
here.
chick. Wow,
HIV
you're right.
virus is used to destroy.
They got the article up right
yeah,
now.
Yeah.
Discovered first.
Isn't that wild?
British.
Who would have ever thought? We're going to inject you with something that's probably going to kill you anyway,
Right, exactly.
and we're going to see what happens.
I'm gonna read the headline. Can you pull that back up? I'll read the headline for people who can't see. It says British firm discovers first cure for cancer. HIV virus is used to destroy killer cells. That's the headline of this art. I think
I feel
it's
like
a
that
British
should be bigger
article.
news. That should really be bigger news.
I think it's still very much in trial, but
But even if it is in trial, instead
works.
they're reporting on what the Kardashians are doing, and it's like
Yeah.
that's news, people.
well, it's
That is
also
news.
it's also then you're killing $1 billion industry.
Exactly. We're talking about a cure, not stay on
so
drugs.
they're silencing it.
Yeah.
Of course. You know, it's more money in.
So now we got conspiracy theories.
This is a whole new podcast.
This is a completely different show.
conspiracy creatures.
I want to.
Conspiracy creatures.
That is a great fun fact that I did not know though. So that is awesome.
So you got
throwing that
cancer?
out
Do you want HIV or you want to stay with the cancer?
Well,
I'll take HIV,
Would you?
Because
yeah.
it's treatable now. So
and it looks way more comfortable than cancer.
it does.
I don't know,
But
man. You
I'm
know,
also that's an outside perspective because none of us have.
HIV or
Right?
cancer.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
Let's move on. Move on to the Ask Me Anything section of the show. This is a great question that I was asked, and I had to do research on it, and the answer was both alarming and surprising, and I thought it was very interesting. How often are the New York City subway cars cleaned?
Oh, I wondered
Cleaned.
that today.
There's some nasty stats.
No, I almost don't want to know because it's summer and my thighs have been touching the chairs a lot.
Ooh, you along with a lot of other women and some men as well.
Or like last week, the lady was cooling her vagina off on the subway.
Right. I
So,
mean,
so what are the facts here?
all right.
Are
So
they clean?
here's the thing.
No.
All right. Well, here's the part that's mind blowing. Okay, so as of 2016, the New York City subway gets 5.6 million riders on a typical weekday. That is insane.
That's a lot.
And that's all together. That's not per car. That's the whole subway system. So the subway handrail, something that you just hold on to so you don't fall down on the fucking trains going out of control, that has 900 times more germs than the seat back table on an airplane, which is considered the dirtiest place on an airplane. 900 times more germs than the seat tray that comes down. on
Fun
your seat.
fact. Do you know the place that's dirtier than that?
On a plane?
No, just period.
Probably a remote control in a hotel.
No.
I was gonna say that too because I heard that.
I did hear that too once.
The handles of the city bike.
I could see. But
Even more germier than it is 10 times more germier than the rails in the subway.
How is that?
How is
how is
that
that possible?
Because the surface.
And who are
area-
your sources?
This was an article I read. I didn't, I remember this was it listed like the germiest place, and it was like you would think that the rail in the subway is the germiest place, but like the top one was that the handlebars on a city bike.
Freddie, we're talking about 5.6 million riders a day.
I don't believe that fact.
City
Freddie.
Bike. I only know a handful of
up.
people who use City Bike.
It's a lot of people.
How in the hell are you
the
telling
handles
me?
of the city bike germy?
And people with
There it is.
City
Look,
Bike have
look,
more.
that's the article right here. You may want to keep some Purell. Thank you guys.
Who
for
wrote
pulling
this
up.
article?
Who's the source?
This is on mycurb.com.
Okay, exactly. Who the
Men's
fuck is
Health.
mycurb.com?
Men's health video. It says men's health.
Sounds like someone's going for clicks there.
Men's health video. This is not women's health. This is I don't know why I said that. I don't know why
That's
I said
fucked up.
Damn.
It's too funny. I can't even be mad. I'm trying to get mad, ladies. Sorry. Next one I'll
Oh
get
gosh.
'em.
We'll get him
But-
next one.
Don't worry.
But-
I'm going to blog about that later.
I believe because the handlebars on the city bike are sticky. And it just traps germs in the crevices. That's my word for the day. Crevices.
Okay, I get that because the grips have the holes in them. So when you clean
I'm
it,
talking about pure numbers. When you have 5.6 million people riding the subway per day,
Yeah.
But germs are germs. It's not like you got,
so you're talking about the type of people who are riding City Bike compared to the type of people who are riding the subway.
No, that's not.
No, this is two different
I see
arguments.
where you're going with
no,
that.
No, I see where you're both going.
Right.
You're talking about the germs stay on the bike longer because you can't clean in between the crevices of the
Exactly.
grip of the handle. You're saying there's no way there's more germs than that because 8 million people are riding these subways a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of really, I get this, but I'm leaning towards you a little.
I'm going
Like,
with
just
pure
a little.
numbers here.
You gotta
Pure
go with
numbers.
cleanliness. You gotta go with cleanliness.
Okay, well, that actually goes right into what I was talking about, okay?
Yeah,
So,
go ahead.
Subway handrail, 900 times germier than the airplane seat tray. Now, according to an article from New York Times, subway cars are cleaned every 8 to 10 weeks
What?
by one person.
What?
And it takes them 3.5 hours to do an entire train.
No. Where the fuck are our tax dollars going?
Listen,
What's
not to
happening
the
right
subway.
now?
This-
What the fuck's happening?
These are the numbers that they
set
gave.
them off.
Every 8 to 10 weeks. So you do the math on how many people are touching handrails and then how often they are getting cleaned. And it's one person scrubbing an entire train and it takes them 3.5 hours.
I'm sure.
Well,
If you had to spend 3.5 hours scrubbing a dirty train, you'd be like, I'm gonna skip this seat. Like you'd see a few seats and be like, fuck it. Like the last ones.
how much would they have to pay you to take that job?
3.5 hours once every 8 weeks.
Well, it's each train is 8 to 10 weeks. So you have to assume with the amount of trains there are, you're doing
it
one
once a week at least.
at least. So, but
Once
think
a
about
week-
the shit that this person's encountering after 8 to 10 weeks of filth just
I
building
need
up on
like
a train.
500 an hour.
I mean, yeah. And
I need-
pay for the hospital bills of whatever shit you're probably encountering.
And I'm talking
I mean, I know
500 an
you-
hour cash. I'm not talking take half of that for taxes. I don't give money to the man.
I'm pretty sure your benefits are on deck.
well, it's a city job, so I'm assuming,
You at least get
Oh.
dental.
God, I hope. So that blew my mind. That stat.
That's
8 to
fucking
10
gross.
weeks, one person, 3.5 hours for in a night.
I thought it was every night. I thought at the end of the night they gave it a
Oh,
wipe
you're
down.
fooling
So
yourself.
they're not even touched.
They're
What
hand
about
washed.
the thrown up ones?
I think they do special cleanings. Like if
I
it's
think
like
they
somebody
have to. I think
throw
by
up in the
law,
train.
they have to do that.
like bodily
I
fluids.
don't know that for a fact. I'm totally making that up, but I feel
Nah,
like
yeah,
there's
yeah,
got to
they
be a
do.
law
Yeah.
where if there's some kind of biohazard
Bodily
on,
fluids, you have
on
to
a
clean
subway train, it has to be taken care of.
You know what's crazy?
Once it gets to the end of the route, then they take it off. And then,
Yeah, maybe they just do a quick walkthrough.
I would get it was a thing I prided myself on. I would get 2 colds a year. One before Christmas, one right before summer.
2 a year.
2 a year. That was it. Small
That's a lot.
colds, a day and a half. That's it. Like a day and a half of like a stuffy nose, a sore throat. That's a lot.
Before you moved to New York.
Yeah.
Well, think about.
I've been here since January. I've been sick 5 times.
Oh yeah. No.
Well,
so, okay.
you know what? You can actually, in a
true.
way,
That's true.
credit this New York subway to having such a strong immune system, because you think about, how people have to be exposed to these germs.
Oh yeah,
and
but
bacteria.
that's what grosses me out. Is like that means that my body was exposed to someone else's germ.
You don't want to think
that
about
didn't
it.
have them.
Exactly.
You got to wipe that from your mind.
Listen, if you want to really put things in perspective, you think about the handrail that you touched, how many people and what those people have done who were touching it before you. And it's a scary thought, but that's why we put those thoughts in the back of our mind, and we just live every day as if,
You ever see a kid lick one? And you're like,
yeah. Trust me, there's plenty of videos.
I saw a video where like the drunk person was like laying and they was like upside down on the pole and licking the pole,
Licking the pole.
And that
you got
was-
the little
and
kids who do
hopefully
it.
that was a grown adult, not a child.
hopefully that poll wasn't at week 7.5. Like
or week 9 and a half of a slow
I
training
like that
cycle.
perspective, because that's
I'm always gonna wonder what week my train is on now. I'm like, I wonder what week.
ooh, that's an
cleanliness.
interesting way of
I
looking
mean, but
at it.
New York is a dirty. I mean, the first time I moved to New York, I got sick 5 times that year.
I'm gonna get a black light. I have a black light flashlight.
No,
at
you don't
home.
want to do that. You
And
don't
I'm
want to
gonna
do that.
just
Don't
bring
you
it
do
onto
that?
the train just to show
That's
everybody.
like going into the hotel room before you stay in it and blacklighting it. You
I do that
don't
with my
wanna do
boyfriend. He
that.
gets really mad at me.
You black light
Don't tell me you do that.
I brought. Well, okay, so we had.
Are you a blacklighter?
No, I just had him in my bags because I had it for an event we did, the Some
Okay,
Science
yeah, that
event.
sounds like everybody
And then
does that.
so we went to 2 hotels; they were still in my bag. So I was like, "Let me
God
just
damn.
check," and he was like, "Don't."
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
And it wasn't good.
You don't want to do that. But you know what you could do is when you go on a subway, if you take the regular train every day, just kind of mark it. Like take like a little marker and mark it. And then obviously they cleaned it when the marker's gone, but you see how long it takes for that marker to go away. Or chalk.
Wait,
chalk,
so-
because chalk will go away.
But the thing is, that's true. But how many of
MTA
the
is gonna hate Rick.
like how many C trains
no
are
one's
there?
listening
Is
to
what
this.
I'm saying. Like, how many of
Now.
each train are there?
How many?
Like, how many C trains are there?
That's a great question.
It's a
I don't
lot.
know.
Yeah,
Is
There's
it-
got to
they-
be a lot, though.
Yeah, they could cycle them out.
I'll tell you what, there's only one G train because that shit never comes.
They call it the ghost for a reason. The ghost train for a reason. You be thinking like, where is this damn train?
So, like, I have a quick question. Do you know the answer to this? Because I'm pretty new to New York, I guess. I've been here less than a year. Are the MTA drivers responsible for our lives? Like, can they switch tracks and kill us?
That's a good. I don't know.
They can. Brian is saying.
Brian in the
confirming
back
and
is
saying
saying yes.
Like, they can just. How do you
Brian,
know-
who are your sources on
Yeah,
this?
Brian. What's
I've lived here for a while.
Okay, this Brian, the
they're pretty
producer.
much
You guys are
on the
hearing.
rail. Like they're not going to go the opposite direction.
but they could.
I mean, I guess you could put a train in reverse. I've been in one.
Well, there's a funny thing that we're going to tell a story on another podcast. There's a guy in the 90s who stole a subway train.
Oh yeah.
And so I guess to the answer in a way, maybe they've made changes since then because of this. But there was a guy who stole a subway train in the 90s, and we will talk about that in a
There's
later episode.
between 2 and 11 C trains.
See, I feel like there would have been so many more than that.
No, I feel like it would have been about
2 and 11?
That's a big range, by the way.
Yeah.
Range.
It depends on where in the city you are. So from 16th to 32nd, only 2 trains run there. From 32nd to 40th, it jumps to 5, and then 88th to 160, it's all 11 trains.
Also, he didn't Google that. He's just autistic.
Oh yeah, brother.
Man.
Buckle in tight, guys.
Here for the
Well,
shock
thank
factor.
you guys. Thank you guys for that, because that
Shout out to our producers. That's
yeah, I'm
working
glad
on the show.
that's Mike and Brian in the back there. I'm
Always holding us
glad
down.
that we have them because
2 and 11 C trains. That's what I would have guessed. I would have guessed that there was about 5 or 6. To be honest,
I think that's such a big range. We have anywhere between 1 and 100 C trains.
it's so funny to say 2 and 11 because it's like if there's 2, there's 2. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like there's definitely not 11 if there's 2.
Yeah.
Like, how much money you make a year? I make between $1,000 and $1 million a year. Baby girl, look, but who's counting? Come to my house.
Yeah.
Here's another. The last question we'll do, and I want to bring you guys into this one as well. Someone asked, "What is the worst creature you've ever seen on the subway?" I'm gonna give the audience a chance to fast forward at this point because the story I'm gonna tell right now is pretty vulgar and disgusting. So you can fast forward right now if you don't want to hear it.
Or if you're a pervert, you can put it in slow-mo.
You put it in slow-mo. And if you really want, I can talk like this when I tell you.
No.
Oh my God.
No.
do it
All
regular.
right. So you ready to get into this? So there was a woman who decided to get onto the train, and she sat down in an open seat. She pulled her pants off. She put her legs above her head, and she decided to start finger blasting herself right in front of everyone on the train. Then,
Was she attractive?
no.
Okay.
No.
Of course not.
Of course not.
No. Yeah.
Too much to ask.
Yeah. This was Natalie Portman, just sitting on the train, just finger blasting herself.
Natalie Portman is attractive. It's fine.
You don't.
Can you imagine
I thought you
Natalie
would've said,
Portman
like,
getting on
Scarlett
the train?
Johansson.
Everyone's got their own, you know?
Can you imagine Natalie Portman getting on a train and going spread eagle?
Do you need help? I can help.
That's not even the worst part, believe it or not.
Oh no.
Okay, continue. Sorry, Rick.
So after a few, maybe 30 seconds of doing this, she then decides to start licking her fingers as if she pulled them out of a Doritos bag.
No. That's
So,
making me nauseous.
People immediately got up and started running off the train at the next stop.
Because this bitch is crazy.
You know that, yeah. So that, to answer your damn stupid question, was the craziest thing. And this was not in person, by the way. This is a video that was sent to me that unfortunately I had to
see that video?
I had to see the video, and
You had to, huh?
He's like, I had to see
and
it.
I had to keep
downloaded
going
it.
to see that, make sure that she licked her fingers.
And
And
he's like, and I had to save it and rewatch it every night before bed.
Had
So-
to transfer it to my computer and watch it on my big screen.
I had to pull it up on the jumbotron. Now I want to extend this to you guys. That being said, and good luck topping that story. But what is the craziest thing that you guys have seen?
You want to go first? Or let me go first?
You go first, because
Okay. Oh yeah.
I'm the craziest thing. I've honestly been the most like.
So you've been the craziest thing on
I've
the
been
train.
the craziest thing I've seen on a train.
Oh, I
Unfortunately,
buy that. I buy that.
When me and my boyfriend are Puerto Rican, we've been in like one like public argument, and it was when I first moved to New York, and we were like fighting, like screaming at each other on the train, and like when you open the doors and like move trains, we were like fighting through the train like that.
Oh man,
Like
you were
going-
that couple that
Yes.
we've all encountered before.
3 a.m. hammered fighting, and it was like that's what the craziest thing I've seen, and I should have been on your videos.
I'm surprised no one. At that point, it's so natural to see that though that someone was probably like, no.
They're like
I've
this
seen,
again.
I've
Puerto
seen your
Ricans
boyfriend.
going at it.
I've seen your boyfriend. So people probably didn't want to record because they didn't want
Because
his
he's
anger
gonna rip
to
his head off.
Like, you know what? I'm not in your relationship, brother. I just want to continue on. So I get why people didn't record.
Yeah, nobody was helping me. That's what we were talking about earlier. I was like, help!
Oh my god, yeah. That's
No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't
no,
that
of
dramatic,
course.
I mean, in instances like that, people start making like excuses, like, you know what? She probably did something to make him mad. You know,
Yeah.
she's in that relationship. Maybe she likes that. I'm gonna leave her alone.
It was also just yelling, but sometimes it's like that's enough to get the attention of the room. You know.
Well, that was a nice twist because I asked, what was the craziest thing you've seen, and you were the craziest thing. That's a nice twist.
Me next.
Yeah, Freddie, you're up.
The crazy thing I've seen, I was on the train and minding my business. I was sitting on the end car. Like some people know this, it's just the little seat, the flip out seat that scares
yeah.
everybody when people get up. It's like, so in New York subways, there's a handicap seat that flips up so handicapped people can roll in right there. But I was sitting in the seat so it flips down. And then when people just get up to get off their stop, it slams up, and everybody always on cue looks around like, what the? Oh, it's the seat. Damn, you could have warned us. But I was sitting in that seat, and so I'm looking straight out the door, and we pull into a stop, and I see this guy kind of like leaning over the trash can, kind of like, like he's just like tired, or he's just languishing, or, he's just exhausted or something. And so I'm like, oh man, he gets to the stop, and then, the doors open up. The doors open up, and he's not tired. He's not languishing. He's not exhausted. He is leaning over the trash can for support to squeeze out a monster poop. He has no pants on, and when the doors open up, I happen to catch him in mid poop. The watery poop falling.
All right.
from his
So
butt.
this is the second episode, and Freddie has already told 2 poop stories in 2 episodes.
All he's seen is people shitting.
He's becoming known as the poop guy.
Oh God, you won't give me a nickname, and that's the
The
nickname
poop
I'm
guy.
gonna get. Freddie B, the poop guy.
Freddie the poop
That was
guy.
traumatizing to me. I was like, what? I'd only been in New York for maybe 5 months.
What if Freddie's story was that he was on a train at 3 a.m. and 2 Puerto Ricans came in screaming?
Oh, that would have been a great plot twist right there.
Like, I wanted to tape them, but the guy was big, and I don't
and
fight.
I work at his studio.
Right? Yeah.
So
I know them. It's fucked.
we're going to get into the segment This Just In. We're also going to dig into the comment section. But first, my friend New York Nico stops by to share a couple stories with us and talk about some of the unique talent in the underground world. Check it out. All right, we're in the studio with Nick Heller, a.k.a. New York Nico, the unofficial talent scout of New York City. Nick, thank you so much for coming by.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Nick, what's up, man?
Chilling. How are you?
I'm good. Look, I just want to get it going. What does it mean that you're the unofficial talent scout of New York? What does that mean?
Well, it means that I gave myself the title of being the talent scout of New York City. The reason why I gave myself that title is because I feel like I have a knack for finding unique talent in this big city of 8 million plus people. I don't know what it is. I don't have many talents, but I would consider that to be my number one talent is finding interesting people. I feel like I kind of have like a third eye for it.
You honestly have a magnet. I think it's just attracted to you.
I feel that. I feel like they're attracted to me.
It really does, because your account is very similar to mine, but the huge difference is that my account is a lot of user-submitted content. You, and I think you pride yourself on this, tell me if you don't, you actually are behind the lens for everything that you post, and that is a huge deal because you are actually seeing this with your own eyes all the time. It's a big deal, especially for someone who runs an account with 100,000 plus followers, such as yours. So for the people who don't actually know who you are, why don't you just give us a quick little summary, you know, that you're a native New Yorker, you know, where the account, the idea for the account came from, and, you know, all that good stuff.
For sure. Well, I was born in Union Square on 16th.
Right in the middle of it.
Pretty much. I mean, I was born on 16th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue. So Union Square was like my backyard. Although, you know, growing up, it was a lot more dangerous. There was a lot of drugs and crime, and my parents didn't really want me going out there. So I didn't start really hitting Union Square as like my hangout until, you know, like middle of high school. But from high school up until now, it's kind of been like my hangout spot. You know, if I'm not doing anything, I'll just go roll up to Union Square and chill.
So growing up, obviously you said it was kind of a rough area at the time. When you were 16, something happened where you found yourself in I guess it's a dangerous scenario.
Yep.
Tell me about that.
So I must have been 16, anywhere from 16 to 18. Whenever Pan's Labyrinth came out, because I remember I saw Pan's Labyrinth, and on my way back home, I was taking the train and got off at 14th Street on the F train, so 14th and 6th. And I was walking down that long passageway, and this dude just comes up next to me. He's like, you know, walking perpendicular with me. Parallel,
like
perpendicular.
Perpendicular is like a T. Parallel, side by side.
Thank you.
Yeah.
God, you learn something every time you come on the show. So I'm walking, and you know, he's like 6 feet away from me, and he just looks at me, and he's like, and you know, I was like a super skinny, like nerdy white 16-year-old kid. He's like, "Yo, you good?" And I think he just said that to like get a gauge on like, you know, if I was like a tough guy or whatever, if I, you know.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, man, I'm fine.
Oh no,
like,
wrong
clearly,
answer.
Clearly very nervous.
The obviously not good answer.
Right. No, exactly. In retrospect, I would have just been like, yeah, I'm fine. Actually, we can get into this later, but I know when you're in situations like that, I kind of know how to act now.
Isn't the most
we'll
alpha
definitely...
thing to go, you good? Like, yeah, are you good?
I mean, I found, because I've been in situations like that since, and I've come to realize that the crazier you look, the better you will be. Like, no one will fuck with you if you look
the farther
crazy.
away
Like,
people
if he
will
said you
stay.
good and I just looked at him and just like gave him like these wide eyes, like even as like a 5'6", like 120-pound kid, he would have not have done what he was about to do. And what he did, so I'm walking, and I'm going through those turnstiles. You know the ones like the
it's not
revolt,
exactly
the tall ones. I don't know what to call
they're
them.
like
but-
cages.
exactly. They look like cages.
So I was going through, and then he pulls it shut, so I can't move it.
And you can get stuck in those.
So I got stuck in it.
Yeah.
And then he pulled me back towards him.
Towards the train or leaving the train? Towards the exit?
The exit, yeah.
Towards the
Yeah.
exit.
So so he's holding me, and he holds something up to my back, and he wanted me to think it was a gun. And he's like, "Give me all your shit." So I was like, "Fuck, what do I do?" You know, like things started like moving in slow motion. Like I was trying to, I was trying to think like, what would my mom want me to do? What would my teachers want me to do? So I gave him all my stuff. Like I gave him my wallet. I gave him my phone. What else?
You said, what were your teachers want you? That was your first thought?
Yeah, like, you know.
I was trying to let
to a
that
good
sink in.
school,
Like, what would my teachers want?
He was obviously a 16-year-old
What?
white kid.
Yes,
Exactly.
So,
What this Anderson thing?
I would have been like, you won. Here you go. I gotta go.
So I gave him my shit, and then I was just like, you know what?
Like, what does a 16-year-old actually have on him, though? Like, what
I
would
had
you
a
actually...
wallet
Pokemon
and a
cards?
phone. Like, but you know, that stuff was super valuable to me because
Well, I'm sorry, what was it?
a phone and a wallet.
Yeah, I mean,
So
all right.
you know, I had a little cash in the
Right.
wallet, and so I'm like, fuck, like this really sucks. Like I don't want to give this stuff up. So I turn around and I swat his hand out of the way, and he drops what he had in his hand, and it was a bottle opener. So he wanted me to think it was a gun. Like I'm pretty sure he said something like, "I'm sticking you up" or something crazy like that. Like I got a gun or something.
He got his robbery like dialogue from like
Yeah,
an old buddy.
dude,
Like, I'm
this guy-
sticking you up, kid.
Well, you'll
Turn around. Let me get you back because today I'm gonna rob you, son.
Yeah, see?
This guy was an idiot, totally inexperienced. I would not be surprised if this was the first time he'd ever done something like that.
Oh.
Okay.
That was the accompanying music.
So he drops the bottle opener, and I'm like, wow,
bottle opener.
this guy's an
Oh,
idiot.
is that- that's what it was?
Yeah.
It was a bottle
He's
opener.
like, I'm like, this guy's not for real. Like, I can totally get my shit back right now. So I grab onto his jacket, and I'm like, give me all my shit back.
Oh,
and he
snap.
was like, no. And I'm like, yeah, give me my shit back.
Once again, he flipped the script.
Yeah. I flipped
So
the
you
script.
asked for it.
I asked for I was telling him to give me my shit back. So he gives me my phone. Oh, I'm sorry. I had an iPod too. I had an iPod. So he starts by giving me my iPod. I'm like, okay, now give me the rest. So he gives me my phone. I'm like, give me the rest, man. And he's like starting to get super uncomfortable. Can't get free. So he gives me my wallet, but takes the money out of the
What?
wallet.
He is
And I was
ballsy.
like, dude, are you crazy? And so at this point,
When do you hit
like
him?
he just felt so defeated. Like, you know, he fucked up big time.
Yeah.
So he managed to wriggle out of his jacket and run up the stairs. So I held on.
So now
his
you were the
jacket.
one. You mugged the mugger.
I mugged the mugger.
Wow.
So I mean, I got his jacket, which was probably like, you know, $40 jacket, and he got like $12 from me.
Wow.
And,
That's a great story.
Yeah, and I kept that jacket as a memento.
I wish you brought it. I would have loved to see that.
I just recently found out my parents just recently moved and they got rid of it.
No.
I'm really bummed. But it was like, you know, it was like a triple XL jacket. It was a big dude.
You have to find whoever
This
they
was a
sold
big
it
dude?
to, and you have to mug
He was a
them
big
for
dude.
that jacket.
I could tell that like he could have killed me. Like he could have beat the shit out of me. Got all my
yeah.
stuff. I could just like he just wasn't.
Nobody
about
hit
that, you know?
anybody in this
No,
scenario?
nobody hit anybody.
And were there a lot of
know.
people around? Was this at a weird hour?
There were like 4 or 5 people who passed by during the entire thing, and like they saw what was going on, but nobody did anything.
That's the scariest
Really
thing
fucked
for
up.
me as a woman
Yeah.
because I'm
Yes.
always like, even when I'm walking down the street at night, I'm like, oh, there's a bunch of people.
Yeah,
like,
you'll
I'll
be
be
fine.
fine.
No.
But there's so many situations where people just want to mind their own business. And there's
Totally.
also like this thing called like bystander.
It's called the Kitty Genevieve case, where everyone assumed someone else had
called
called for help,
911. Yes.
and they all assumed wrong, and this woman wound up dying in an
And it
alley right in
happens
front of all
often.
these people.
Crazy.
And that happens in New York all the time, and that's a great story to tell because that actually is something that happens, and it's like some kind of phenomenon that.
Yeah, if you see something happening, just call the police.
See something, say something.
Everyone has a phone.
Exactly.
Just call 911
everywhere
real
over
quick
the
and
subway.
say, I don't know if
There you go.
anyone's called yet. This happened.
But
just
nowadays
letting
people
you know.
will videotape it.
Right.
People will video.
Yeah.
It
I
will
don't-
be
that would-
videotaped.
But also,
And it
like,
will end up on what is New York.
if you want to videotape it, that's fine. Call the cops first.
Yeah.
And then videotape it. If that's what you
Right.
need to do.
Yeah.
But, like, people videotape things and then people end up dead.
Yeah.
Well, luckily for you, you didn't
Right.
end up dead, and you know the result of that story was a little actually beneficial for you. You got
Yeah,
a jacket out of it
I
for
remember
$12. I guess you bought that jacket for $12. If you want
That's
to
a
look
good
at
way
that
to
way.
look
I'm surprised you didn't hit him. As soon as I seen that bottle opener drop, I'm
Dude,
like,
what am I
bitch.
doing though?
Well, not if he's
What
as
am I
big
doing?
as he
Like,
said he.
I was tiny. He
Kicked
was
him in the
huge.
nuts.
I couldn't
Cheat.
have done anything.
Yeah, but
I will tell you, I did feel invincible in that moment, which is why.
Right, you grabbed him out of
Yeah,
jail.
I probably shouldn't have done that. In
You were about that
retrospect,
life.
It could have ended way worse, but
you probably scared him because he was like, oh, this kid's got fight
See,
in
that's what
him.
I'm saying. Like, I probably came across as crazy at that point.
Nico, tell me. I want to hear about the account. You got to tell me like where the idea came from. Obviously, it's something that It only made sense. It sounds like
It was like the first post. Like,
what was the first person? Like, how did you gain a following for this? Like, where do all of a sudden you come up with over 100,000 followers for the content you're putting out? Is it been a long time coming for that? Is it explain the account to us?
Yeah. So after I went to college at Emerson College in Boston, when I came back to New York, I spent a year in Brooklyn. And I was just like, I got tired of New York. I spent a year back. It was just like, I'm over it. I grew up here. I'm ready to move. So I moved to LA for 6 months, and I moved out there without a driver's license. It was like pre-Uber.
Okay,
Didn't
that's
have
what's
any
up.
work prospects. Had a miserable time. So I felt I had no choice but to move back home with my parents in Union Square. So I did that, and I was like super defeated. Didn't know what I was going to do for work. For those who don't know, I direct commercials and stuff, so I was like not getting any commercial work out there. So I moved back, and I was just like sitting in Union Square one day, just kind of contemplating life. I was like 24 at the time, what I was going to do, and I noticed Tedavon, the 6'7" freestyling rapping Jew, walking around. And for those who don't know who Tedavon is, he is a 6'7" Jew with dreadlocks, white guy, who walks around with a big sign that says, "The 6'7" Jew will freestyle rap for you." So I used this low point in my life as an opportunity to just like go and talk to this guy. That was something that I would never really do because I was fairly shy. But I used this as an opportunity to go and talk to him, and he was very receptive. We walked around the city for like 2 hours, and at the end of that, I was like, you know what? I'm nothing else going on. I want to do a documentary on this guy. And I'd never done a documentary before. And he obliged. We did the documentary. Turned out really good. And then he gave me the idea to just do documentaries on New York City street characters. So that turned into a series that I put out with Gothamist called Know Your City, where I profiled like Larry the Birdman and Wendell the homeless fashion designer, Queen Amore, a lot of people that we all know just from walking around New York City.
And there he is actually.
Who's that?
That is the 6'7" freestyling rapping Jew.
Yep, and that's actually from the documentary that we made.
Okay, there you go, man.
Right.
So I made that, and from that, I was able to start getting like branded content jobs, commercial jobs, and so I was set like financially. And the jobs that I was getting came kind of few and far between, so I had a lot of downtime.
And you're living at home too, right? So,
yeah. Well, actually, at this point, I moved in.
I was about to say, you are banking.
yeah.
So,
Saving.
so I decided to use all of my free time to just like do a passion project, and that passion project became my Instagram account. And it started out just profiling a lot of the people that I made these documentaries on my phone, so kind of doing like catch-ups with them. So Tedavon, Larry, Queen Amore, Ricky Sires, the list kind of goes on.
Have you done one with Matthew Silver?
Yeah, I did one with
because Matthew Silver is actually a very well-known reoccurring personality in the Union Square area.
Totally.
He's actually been in the subway a few times. I've posted a couple of videos of him. Very interesting character.
He goes viral all the time.
He does.
So-
Justin Bieber reposted one of his videos.
Yeah.
The key to a
Here he is
viral
right here.
video is just putting Matthew Silver in a
It
crazy
really is.
scenario.
I mean, he's known for quote unquote love farts, which is his big quote that he goes off of.
What is it?
I've actually worked with him. He's, like I said, very interesting.
Yeah, he's a really smart guy. Super interesting.
Exactly. He wants universal love for everyone in the world. That's his goal.
Love farts, though. I need an explanation here.
Well, can you
they
dive into
stink?
that a
Well,
little bit?
Matthew Silver, I mean, I don't think anyone can really explain what he does. He's kind of like an Andy Kaufman character.
Yes.
Where you don't really know if like this is
Who he
him or
is.
he's playing a character.
Okay.
But he's usually, out in the streets with like a woman's bathing suit on, making fart sounds and
And we do have a
playing with
short.
rubber
We have a
chicken.
short video actually of Matthew Silver, and I believe you filmed this one of him on the subway.
Yeah. I think we filmed that to send to you.
You know what? That sounds about right. And when I posted that, it went viral.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
It doesn't, like you said, you put him in a video, and it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, totally. Because a lot of my friends who are performers.
Chicken unicorn, chicken, yes, the chicken unicorn. Let it out today. Let it out, let it out, let it out, come on, let it out, let it out.
So for those of you who can't see,
Just let it out.
this is Matthew Silver on the train, holding a unicorn, dancing in a woman's onesie.
Chicken unicorn.
Now
I don't think that's a woman's onesie. I think that's a little girl's onesie. Because his dick about to fall out. In like 5, 4, 3. Like, I'm glad we cut that because his dick was gonna fall out. I'm pretty sure of it.
Well, there is another
It
point.
didn't.
He
Spoiler.
seems really happy.
Spoiler alert. There was another point where he was like hanging from the bars and
Yeah,
he ended
yeah.
up falling from the ceiling of the subway. But, that kind of gives you a good perspective or a good view of who Matthew Silver
Yeah.
is. I'm sure it's nothing but an adventure walking around with him.
Oh, yeah.
And he, like you said, he's an Andy Kaufman in that he's always in character, which I noticed because I've worked with him in the past.
Yep.
And I also ran into him on the street afterwards. And I went up, I was like, hey, what's up, Matthew? And it was almost like he had never seen me before because he didn't want to break character.
Oh, man.
So it was very awkward for me because I just started stepping away and I go, okay, I'll catch you later, man.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it was so awkward. And I walked away so dejected. I'm like, oh man, I thought we were boys.
You were the only person Matthew Silver's never spread love to.
Like I got curved
point.
by a man that wears a little girl's onesie.
But you know what else? There was another point where Jeff Garland slid into your DMs and he wound up walking around with you because this is what you do. You walk around with these guys and you go to all these different characters and personalities in New York City.
Yeah.
And there was one point where you introduced Jeff Garland to Matthew Silver. And that was probably one of the only other times I've seen Matthew Silver not really in character because he knew he was standing there with Jeff Garland. We also have video of that. If we could pull that one up.
I am in the love consciousness. I am. Don't try and stop me.
No one's stopping you.
No one. You. Don't try and stop me. If you think you're going to stop me, I will stop. Do not stop me from being the love consciousness. Ma'am, don't try and stop me. I am part of the love consciousness.
It's like Matthew Silver possessed him.
I realize now I'm just giving you a video.
He really did. Jeff actually.
See, that is one of the first times I've ever seen Matthew Silver take a back seat
For sure.
to someone else.
Yeah.
And it was, I remember seeing that video and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
He's
Jeff actually reached out to me after the Matthew Silver video I posted, where he's like doing his thing, and then I pan over to a group of little kids who just got out of school, and they're all staring at him, and like half the reactions are, like face palm, and the other half is just like looking very intently. It was interesting, because it wasn't like one or the other.
right.
But one thing about that video, also there's another person that I've seen in a few of your videos.
Yeah,
He was in that video.
T-Rex.
T-Rex, right. He
Shout
was
out
there
T-Rex.
too. Yeah.
Shout out T-Rex. And, let's actually go to the T-Rex video that we have as well. For those of you who don't know who T-Rex is, there it is. He's always a drummer in the subway. And
He don't have elbows. It's just like the top part of his arm.
has
how
a-
do you, maybe, Nico, do you know
He has a a handicap called Phocomelia. Which he describes as a seal-like flipper disease. And you're just not born with arms. Like, you have your hands and your shoulders, you just don't have an arm.
Well, you know what
It's
I
like
really...
a deformity.
It's a deformity, but he makes the best out of it.
I love the fact that he calls himself T-Rex, and he really, like you said, he really does make the best of it, and he's, you know, he's able to... He knows what he's dealing with, and... He knows that that's probably the first thing that he's very aware, and he knows that people, that's what they're going to see when they look at him right off the bat.
Yep.
So he just goes with it. You know, he even wears a raptor mask sometimes.
So you asked what? So the Instagram, you know, there was a point where I was stuck at like 20 to 30,000 followers for a very long time, and then this actually was around this time last year in October. Right before Halloween, I was with T-Rex and I was like, yo, T-Rex, like, how have you never put on a dinosaur mask? Like, you would make so much more money if you had a dinosaur mask on while drumming. And he was like, oh, okay, well, get me a dinosaur mask. So I went to the Halloween party supply store and I got him a dinosaur mask, and he put it on, started bucket drumming, and I was filming him. And it wasn't until after I put the video up that I noticed that there was so much shit going on in that video. There was a guy getting arrested in the background, and it was like perfectly composed. There's this guy getting arrested in the background, and then the cop like picks a wedgie out of his ass. Meanwhile, T-Rex is like drumming with a T-Rex mask on. So it's just like...
Was Matthew Silver in that as well?
No, I mean, that's the only thing that could have made it more viral. But anyway, that video like went crazy. And then I like doubled my followers from that.
Oh, wow.
And then that was also around the time that I filmed Matthew Silver with the fidget spinner. I don't know if you remember that video.
Yep.
But that also went super viral. So that's kind of like, at that point I got up to like 100,000, and then it's kind of just been a little more steady.
At that point, it just kind of makes itself go up.
Yeah, it's word of mouth. Like, check out this account. I know you had a big influence on the band Black Rabbit. Are they part of the family now? What's the story with them? Because I know they've kind of blown up in the past year.
Yeah, totally.
Well,
first tell us who Black Rabbit is.
So for those who don't know Black Rabbit, although I feel like everyone's got to know who they are, but at this point, they're two African-American twins who perform Beatles covers on the subway. And they sound exactly like John and Paul. Like, if you close your eyes and you hear them sing, you'd think it was the Beatles. And I saw them, man, I can't believe it was only a few months ago. Like, it was maybe 5 months ago. But it seems like forever ago. I was riding the L train, and these two kids come on the train. I was like not in the mood. You know when you're in that mood. Like, sometimes performers are great, other times you just don't want to deal with it. And I saw these guys on, and I assumed that they were just going to do some like bullshit that I've heard a million times before. So I was just like, I stepped off to the side, and then they start singing the Beatles. They started singing Norwegian Wood, I think. And I was just like immediately blown away because they sounded exactly like John and Paul. And,
well, this might be a good opportunity to cut to one of the videos we actually have of them.
Right.
You can hear them. And you don't even need visual for this when you hear the video. That is super. That is like,
they're incredible.
Sometimes you hear voices like that, and you're like, "What are you doing in the subway? You should be headlining somewhere."
Yeah.
Do they have their own original music, or is it all covers?
Yeah, and it's even better.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah.
And
wow, I see videos like this sometimes, and I'm like, how is everyone's head not turned?
Well, that's the part of New York that sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
Is that people don't appreciate that.
I saw a video of Brandy, the singer. Brandy the singer. She was on the subway singing one of her songs.
I saw that too.
Loud. Everybody was like, "Move!" Like one person, like, "You don't get your ass out the way."
We're just conditioned to not pay attention.
Exactly.
But I will tell you, like, basically what happened was, I was like, I was captured by the music, so I didn't pull my phone out, and that's usually like the first thing I do. But I was just like paying attention, and then my friend hits me. He's like, "Yo, what are you doing? Why aren't you filming this?" So I took out my phone and I filmed the last song, and then got their info, put that video on Instagram, and it blew up. So I got in contact with them, and then we met up the next day, and I spent like 2 hours, 3 hours with them just riding the subways, and that's where I got the video you just saw. And I did notice that people pay a lot more attention to them than most performers that you'll see on the train. And it was actually very heartwarming because
that is good to see. You know, it's like a Mike Young
my
story.
Faith in humanity for sure.
Because it's deserved.
Yeah. And
exactly.
it was, what's really interesting is people were the same way I was, where like they're not into it at first, but then 10
it
seconds
grows
later,
on
they're
you
like,
real
"Oh,
quick.
shit."
That must be fun to watch too. I like
Totally.
that. Like as a comedian, I like watching people watch me get on stage and they're like,
Yeah.
"Girl,"
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then like their face after, you know, and like you can see the shift, like the moment it happens,
Yeah.
where they're like, "Oh," and they like kind of perk up a little.
Totally.
So
Yeah.
you got to watch that over and over again.
Absolutely.
That's so cool.
And not only that, but how big did it get?
Huge. I mean, they got on Ellen very
Yeah,
shortly
we
after.
actually, I think we have a photo of it that I think you actually took in the background, and it's just that's how big there they are right there. Yeah. Now that photo in the background is the one you took, correct?
Yeah, that was the second day, or the day that I was riding the trains with them.
So
they're so cute.
They're the best, and they did such a great job.
when you hit Ellen, that's when you know, like,
It's
you know,
real.
it's real.
You hit some viral internet fame.
Totally.
Yeah,
You made it to the Ellen couch.
Yep.
yeah, that is definitely a good place to be,
Yeah.
and you know that you're going to be going places. So I wanted to ask you a question that has been kind of a revolving question that people have asked me, and since you are a native New Yorker, what is one of the craziest things you've seen in the subway that maybe you didn't document, or you couldn't document, or you couldn't post? And trust me, I know that there's probably a million things running through your head right now,
Go
but
through the Rolodex.
Dude, I have
Yeah.
such a bad memory. Like, I can tell you that so much crazy shit has happened to me on the subway. So much beautiful shit has happened to me on the subway, but I just forget. You know, like, I mean, there was one time where I had food poisoning, and I collapsed on the subway platform, and like the cops came, and I ended up throwing on a police officer.
he threw up on a police
Threw up
officer.
on a police officer.
Okay.
That was so shitty. Like, I don't know if anyone's ever collapsed on the subway, but it's not fun.
What were the reactions around you to people?
So
Were
I
they-
managed to, like, it was on 2nd Avenue on the F train. I managed to get off the train because I felt myself getting really sick. And I like hobbled over to a bench like by the turnstile. So I was kind of away from traffic. But I just like collapsed. And then
So not on the ground, but
not
on the bench.
ground. On a
I was about to
bench.
say on the
Yeah,
ground.
yeah. No.
You would have had AIDS all up and down your arm.
Exactly.
I would have been like, oh, I don't know
I
how you
was
here.
conscious enough to not do
Okay,
that.
good.
You pass out on the ground on a train station, just kill yourself.
Right. I'm like,
Because the
throw
black
all the
plague
skin
is
away.
coming.
do not
Throw the skin away.
resuscitate.
Do not
You
resuscitate.
gotta get some new skin after that.
But then something that was actually nice that came out of this was like people came to me immediately, and like,
See, that's a good
Yeah.
that's a good part of
you know, like
I'm
I
glad
had
happened.
that shitty moment where I got mugged and no one wanted to help me, but when this happened, like within 30 seconds, this guy came up to me. He's like, "Can I help you? Like, what's going on?" And I was like, "Just call an ambulance or something," because I felt like I was dying. And then these 2 police officers came over and they propped me up, and then I just threw up all over this cop. I was like, "I'm sorry,
I'm sure. Listen,
dude."
I'm
Like,
sure it wasn't the first time this cop had been thrown up
Yeah,
on.
sure,
I mean,
I'm sure,
as a New
I'm
York
sure.
cop, you see some shit.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was crazy. I mean, the craziest thing I got on film, I filmed this guy, like, I mean, it's not even crazy. Like, in the scheme of your page and like the stuff you see on the internet now, like, nothing's crazy.
Yeah, it's like you've seen
I was
it
gonna
all.
say I saw this guy doing coke on his phone, but like, it's not that crazy.
Oh, that's just
That's
a
not
Tuesday.
crazy. For a New
Unfortunately, it's
Yorker.
not. It's not. But if you live in Indiana or Iowa,
That's
that
fucking
is
nuts.
mind blowing
Yeah, yeah,
to
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
I'm originally from Nashville. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you if I'm in Nashville listening to this, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
So does anybody ever see you filming them and get upset? Has that happened where they've tried to like fight
That's a good
you
question.
or
No. Never actually.
Wow.
Knock on wood.
I always get scared because I'll sometimes see things and I'm like, I don't want to.
And I mean, I'm pretty unassuming. When
He
I do
is.
it.
I've actually walked around with Nico before, and you don't even know he's filming.
How? How?
And I think that's the way to do it. Like,
Can you show us your strategy? How do you hold your phone when you're filming
He
something?
can't. He can't give that
away.
up. He can't give that up.
But
The
more
secret
and
sauce?
more.
A magician does not reveal his tricks.
Is there a trick though? Can you tell us that? There is a trick.
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll show you off
There's a
camera.
method
It's not
to
a
the
trick. It's a
madness.
technique.
It's a technique, and we'll show you off camera.
Oh, I need to know.
But yeah, more and more I've been doing it less candidly. Like I'll make relationships with people.
Make it
from that.
obvious.
Yeah.
Just so you can kind of establish
Totally,
that relationship.
Yeah. Because then if like they're not cool with it, they'll just be like, "Don't film me." But usually it's fine. Like you're being filmed everywhere you go, so
Of
Especially
course,
in New York.
it's the time we live in. Again, it's the time we live in.
Sucks.
So
yeah.
Nick, so around your neck you have the official.
I got my bling.
Right. You got the official logo, the New York Nico, and so your logo looks kind of like the New York Post. Do you have like a relationship with them or
No, none whatsoever.
So
hopefully they don't sue me.
Yeah, that's what I was
'Cause I've
wondering.
been
Like,
using this logo quite a bit.
I don't know. It might be good to get the even more attention. If they actually feel threatened by the New York Nico logo, then you're doing something right.
For sure.
All right, man. Well, listen. Do you have any last plugs that you want to give? Anything coming up that you're in?
what's popping with Mr. Heller?
Well, I have a podcast as well that I just started. Okay. I think we started a
And
podcast
if you
around the same
obviously
time.
you got a little bit of a snippet of what that could be like. Obviously, the sky's the limit with what's going on over there. So I highly recommend listening to that
For sure.
one.
It's been a lot of fun. I've done 3 episodes so far. Each episode I bring on, different friends from my Instagram or just, creatives. It's called New York's Got Talent. That's the name of it.
And where can we find that?
It's the link in my bio. I don't know.
Go to the link in his bio.
Yeah.
Is it on iTunes?
It's on iTunes.
Okay.
He's an IG model.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. And at New York Nico on Instagram.
Yep. At New York
you're gonna
Nico. You can follow me, follow my friends, and yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming
Thank
by.
you.
This has
Thank you,
actually been
Nico.
really cool.
That was dope.
Hell yeah.
And on top of that, stick around. We've got a lot more coming up on the show.
Staying clear of the closing doors, please.
All right. Thank you, New York Nico, for stopping by. And we're going to jump right into This Just In. This, like I said at the top of the show, is one of my favorite segments. A, because you guys don't get to see any of this stuff, and B, because we get your raw reactions from it. We got
that cloud going through our camera again. I don't know where that cloud comes from.
I don't even know what you're talking about. So the first clip we have here, man singing out loud on the subway. Can we show this one for Freddie and Kim here and just get their take on it right off the bat?
I give you my heart. This is the day we won, and this is now, forever has now.
Anyone know the song?
No.
I'm trying to catch it.
I've been trying. Oh my god, he's tone deaf.
This is a guy with earphones in singing out loud on the subway. Very unaware, but there's no way he doesn't know that he sounds that loud. He knows exactly what's happening. Can you guys guess that song?
No.
I was trying to.
You know what it says? Forever worse. That's what I thought. Till death
What song is
do
that?
us part.
You know what that is.
Backstreet Boys.
Nope.
And I swear. That one.
All for One?
Boys to Men.
No, that's All for One.
All for One. Oh.
All for One, I swear. So I looked
that what that was?
I thought it was too, because that's the exact part that I heard, and I was like, oh, that's absolutely I swear.
Mm-hmm.
But then I looked up the lyrics that he was singing, at least the parts that I could understand, and it's In Sync, This I Promise You.
No.
Okay.
Let's hear that one more time. Now that we know what the...
Now we can recognize the...
I give you my word. I give you my heart. This is the day we won. And this is
So
Okay, so...
yeah, so In Sync, This I Promise You. Which, again, looked up the video last night. Absolutely hilarious when you look at the styles back in the late
I did
90s,
that
early
recently.
2000s. Yeah. All turtlenecks, and it was actually fun to go down memory lane there. But I was never an NSYNC fan, so I have no idea what song this was.
Wow.
But if you were wondering, it was NSYNC, This I Promise You. Now, I encounter people like this all the time on the subway that are completely tone deaf and also singing as loud as that guy.
I've seen that happen in New York a lot, actually.
See, we couldn't really understand the song he was singing because he got too many teeth in his mouth. He got like 287 teeth all in his mouth. Like he like you know your baby teeth come out, your adult teeth come in.
Yeah.
He got baby teeth and adult teeth in his mouth.
He's got a couple rows.
Right. Did you see how many teeth
He's got baby teeth, adult teeth,
Matter of
teenage
fact,
teeth.
producers, can you guys pull up a picture of Critters? It's an 80s horror movie.
I know
named
Critters. Very familiar with Critters.
Yes, and that's what his mouth looked like. He got just rows and rows and rows and
Freddie
rows
on the
of teeth.
roast.
Man, he got so many teeth. Like he could bite the back of a Volkswagen.
But you know
off.
what? But you know what? He deserves it because
His do-rag was on too tight too. Look, yes.
oh, there he is.
so many
you saw the
teeth.
one, the other. Look at the other photo with the
Critters.
Go back. Look at that one right there, next
yeah,
to it with all the
one
rows.
that's
That
got
one.
about-
Look, that's what his teeth look like.
The rose.
What a good movie, though. I remember that
That was
movie.
a campy 80s movie. That's a classic 80s
Wow.
horror movie.
That was a great movie.
Man, and his do-rag was on too tight. So he couldn't think. So that's why he just didn't even know he was singing that loud because it cut off his duodenum.
The duodenum.
Yeah. The duodenum.
Okay.
The duodenum controls singing loudness.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So
you guys
there's a
know
lot
that.
of takeaway from this episode. We're learning
Exactly.
a lot,
Yeah. Yeah. Learn
Sometimes
something every day.
including what was it? Duodenum.
Duodenum. Yeah.
Like there's been like a couple of times where I've had headphones in and I sing a little bit out loud and then I realize it. Do you ever do that?
Oh, absolutely.
I do
I
that
think
too.
we're all guilty of that.
And then you like stop yourself, and then in that moment, I think, oh, that's what the people do, but they just don't have that thing where it goes like stop, like
Yeah.
they just. But like,
That's
good
true.
for him. He's just singing and enjoying it. I do that by myself. That's like the breakdown of the human. Like he's like what we all are on the inside, and he's just doing it publicly.
See, and you know, in his mind, he thinks he is cutting up. He thinks he is cold. He thinks he is killing it. But what he sounds like, there's an old Memphis song. Only probably people from Memphis and down south will know what I'm talking about when I say this song. It's a song called "Nobody Needs Nobody" by Playa Fly, and Playa Fly has his daddy singing the song, and his daddy sings "Nobody Needs Nobody" those words, and he sings it just like that in the song. It is so surprising in a real song that somebody just sings so tone deaf, but it's so classic and so iconic. But Memphis people watching this and people from down south, they're gonna cry laughing when they hear that.
yeah,
If you
we
go
have a
listen to the song,
huge following down there.
Well, a lot of
or
Memphis.
just go Google the song and listen to it. You gonna hear a man in there. Nobody needs nobody. He literally sings like that in the song.
You know, people
Kid you
in
not.
Memphis, big Subway fans.
Big subway people down there. Memphis, stand up.
They
FedEx,
have podcasts
Nike.
down there called Horseback
Chronicles.
Creatures.
Oh, no, it's called FedEx Creatures and Nike Outlet Store Creatures.
So you guys know how I like to incorporate sometimes the other account, What is New York, into this. And
yes.
this just in from What is New York. This is coming from the Bronx. We got the video of a woman on top of the car. You guys are going to love this one.
Yo, what's good with this job, bro? Yeah.
Whose car is that?
Yo, what the fuck?
There is a woman on top of a car, completely naked, freaking out.
Do you remember the dance?
She's like a
move?
beached whale.
Do you remember the
Yo,
dance? move?
what's good with this job, bro? Yeah.
What were you saying, Kim?
Remember the dance move, the Cry Baby?
All right, all right.
That was a perfect explanation of what this lady is doing on top of
Can
this
we
car.
pull up a video of the dance move, the Cry Baby? Please, for those of you who aren't aware, this bitch is doing the Cry Baby.
She is.
Well, maybe that's exactly what she's doing. We don't know. There's a lot of questions to ask about this video.
Man.
My biggest one is, why the guy in the car looks...
That's the crybaby.
That's the crybaby right there?
Yes. You just kind of...
All right, so right now we're watching a video of a girl
Underage
on the
girls
floor,
for sure.
and it's basically her, well, I want to say throwing a temper tantrum, but that looks a little bit
It's
more
sexual.
than a...
Yeah.
That
You
looks a
hump
little
the
bit
ground
more...
and you bang against
Should
the
we be
floor with
watching
your
this?
No.
You
Chris
just
Hansen...
said she's an underage girl, and I'm watching her dry hump the floor. I'm very uncomfortable now.
Watches on her day.
Chris Hansen's going to walk in here and be like, hello, boys.
Rick, sit down.
Rick, have a seat.
Rick, have a seat. We
I have
wanna
some
talk.
transcripts here that you actually printed out for your own podcast.
Oh, man. All right, let's go back to this video because I want to talk about the guy who's in the
gets out of the
car,
car?
and he gets out of the car, and the look of shock and amazement. How do you not know that this woman is on the roof of your car?
Yeah, he got out of the car like,
He
what
got
the
out
hell
of the-
going on? Like, what are y'all looking at? What? Whoa.
Look at this. Well, do we have audio on this?
She's like, he gets out of the crowd. He looks at people filming.
He has no idea. He's like, what?
How did he not know she
Where
was...
did this woman come
Look
from?
at his hand. Look at his hand. His hand is out like, are you serious?
He's like,
Are you serious?
Where did she come from that he didn't know she was on top
That's
of
my
the car?
point.
Like,
that woman weighs as much as his car. How
it's
does
like
he
she
not
fell
know?
on his car from above.
The look of shock on his face does not
Shock
make
at all,
sense.
dude.
It looks
It
like they
doesn't make
just
sense.
dropped her, like God dropped her, like he was gonna like, he was like putting her somewhere and he just dropped her on the car and she just landed there.
But I'm not gonna lie, he does have that look like when you get stopped by the police and the police search
Well,
your
look
car.
at his face right here.
He's
where
wondering
looking
why
at-
everyone's
he's looking like,
filming
what?
He's
him.
like, why does everyone have their cameras out filming me? I
you
have
guys
no
filming?
idea. Wait, what? A woman on top of my car?
How did he not know?
What?
Right, because he has that look like, you know, when the police stop you and they find like a brick of coke in your trunk, and you like, huh?
Not to
Whose
mention,
is that?
it's not very flattering how we stopped her on the roof of the car right now in this pose either.
I mean,
looks
I
like
don't
she's
think
doing
any
that-
pose is the best pose.
And there's no side.
There is no good pose for her,
good side,
but
right.
that's
She has a
particularly
smiley face
particularly
in the middle of her body, a
Yeah.
smiley face.
So guys, that was that is the What is New York?
Wow.
This just in, that is the Bronx. That's up in the BX. So that's on your neck of the woods up
boogie
there.
down.
I'm staying out of the Bronx
I
now.
don't live in the Bronx. Don't put that on me.
Yeah, you're close to the Bronx,
I'm
man.
not in there though.
He's right on the edge where he just watches with binoculars.
There's a lot of women that can attest. Like close ain't there.
Good point. Good point.
Right, exactly.
All right, guys, what do you say we dig into the comments section here?
Cool.
The first clip is the Asian men fighting. This one aired last week on the account. Maybe you remember this. This was the two guys who are starts off in a verbal argument, and then it gets a little more physical, and the guy just starts punching, nonstop, actually. Right?
We
But the
got
guy's taking it on the chin. Do we have this video?
It's like World
Here
Star.
it is. So you watch this video.
We got an Asian World Star video. Oh,
Boom, 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 boom. And look, he's teeing off, and then he's like, all right, I'm going to sit down now.
Most Asian fight ever.
It is the nicest fight ever. It's kind of like... So I want to give a shout out to Malins. I want to say that's how you say it, Malins. And Malins' line was, "My alarm trying to wake me up in the morning." The guy just teeing off in his face. I think that's actually hilarious, and also probably very true.
That's so funny. If he would have stood up and done it again, he would have been the snooze.
right. I think if once he sits down, if he smacks him again, then yeah, that's definitely me. Because that's me smacking the snooze.
Oh my God, the teeing off.
Look at the lady across from them though. The lady across from them, she's knitting. She's like
unbothered,
minding her
yeah.
business. She is knitting like
She doesn't. Does she stop knitting? No.
She's like looking up as if it's like,
No, this is just our Monday morning.
yeah.
All right, somebody getting stole in the face.
That's a funny and
So
very-
Malins, that's a good line there. The next one I know you guys have probably seen. This was the guy licking the water bottle in a very sexual way.
Okay.
This clip actually annoyed people to an extent. They didn't want to see this type of shit on the train. This guy is tonguing the water bottle.
Yeah, I understand why it's annoying. It's very uncomfortable to watch.
Oh my God, hell yeah. Like what the freak?
So DD _ SCX. Oh my God, he's taking the innocence out of the water bottle, shaking my head.
That's hilarious.
That is...
He broke the hymen in that water bottle. Good Lord, jeez.
How about the fact that people were like pissed off? They were like, I don't I don't want to see a motherfucker like this on the train licking a water bottle, and I'm like, this is the stuff that happens. All
They're
right?
like, can we put more respectful stuff on, like that girl finger blasting herself?
Yeah. We want more of a guy sharing phone with kid. To be honest with you, no one would follow the account
If it was only
if
that.
it was all that. People want to see the nasty shit. They want to see the side of New York that really puts things in perspective
I
like
agree.
that. So thank you and shout out to DD_SZX. OMG, taking the innocence out of a water bottle, shaking my head. I like that one. Apparently, so did you guys at home. Last one. This is hilarious, so I saved it for last.
The best for last.
This is the large woman making out with a guy on a bench. I don't know if the music was married to this clip or if it was just on the guy's stereo. I think he actually put it to it, but the humping going on in this video. The woman is making out with the guy, humping his leg.
And he's like laughing, like he knows how.
He knows that everyone around. This is the middle of the day up in Harlem, and people are just staring at them, and she's dry humping his leg.
This is hashtag relationship.
She is a very heavyset woman. And that's why the comment by Do The Right Thing _216 is hilarious. He said, I bet his leg smells like a warm turtle tank.
Smells like a warm turtle tank. I feel like Do The Right Thing has owned a couple of turtles in
I bet
in
his
day.
leg smells like a warm turtle tank. If you saw the video that we're watching, you totally get it. And that is digging into the comments section for podcast number 2.
Like smell like a warm beef patty.
Oh, God. No, you can't top warm turtle tank because unless you've had a fish tank or a turtle tank,
Yeah, it's
if you
not
know
that
you
smell.
know.
You know that smell.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. If you had a turtle, you know. That's the best comment.
But no, that's real life hashtag relationship goals though. I'm trying to find me a girl that
is not
She just want to dry hump my leg like that.
She
Kiss
stood
me in
up
the mouth.
and walked somewhere after that.
I like the kiss in the mouth. So
Like
yeah,
after that moment, she stood up and then joined the community.
That's
That's crazy.
They were already joining the community in the middle of what they were doing.
Yeah, but they were in their own community. I mean, like the real world, like where we're all like living. In
They
our
both got on the subway and started
Sat down,
riding it.
yeah.
I think his leg probably looked like, remember on Superbad when he was dancing with the girl and then it was like, yo, look, his period blood on his leg.
It's that, but it's green. It's gross. I'm done.
Oh, shit. All right, guys, let's do some shameless plugs here. Freddie, what do you got for us this week?
Man, Freddie BTV, and by the time this come out, I think Tuesday I'll be hosting an episode of HQ Sports.
You are hosting. Congratulations, man. You didn't tell us.
Big.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't tell you?
You told me that
I
there was
thought you
the
might be.
potential to do it. You never told me it was actually happening.
Yeah. So
congratulations, Freddie BTV on HQ Sports.
Yeah. So HQ Sports,
dope.
10 o'clock on Tuesday. I'll be doing that episode, and I'll be at the NBA. I'll be hosting the NBA 2K19 that's coming out. Launch party in New York with LeBron.
Big things. Freddie's doing
So
big things.
That's in 2
here.
weeks. That's in 2 weeks. So if you're in Brooklyn and you know about the event, I think it might be invite only. I don't know, but
Good for
if
you,
you know
man.
about it, you can come and holler
Good
at
for
your
you.
boy.
HQ, that's got a pretty big and cult following.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's
So that's a
it's
big
pretty
deal,
cool.
man.
Pretty cool.
That's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
small shit.
Amazing.
Good for you. Now, Kim, what do you got for us?
Oh, yeah. You can listen to my podcast, Broad Topics, BROADTOPIX on iTunes. I also have another podcast called Stone Science on iTunes, and you can find that, the video version. We get comedians high. We do science experiments with them. YouTube.com/Stone Science. Follow me on Twitter at Kimberly Congdon. Yeah.
Wow. Kimmy Podcast over here.
Kimmy Podcast.
Kimmy Podcast.
I'm doing
And
3.
follow
I'm
on
doing 3.
Instagram. On Freddie BTV on
three's a
Instagram.
lot. Just before we wrap up, did you want to show everyone at home what you've been working on the whole show?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, you show that page.
Kim's been multitasking.
Yeah.
I've been doing. Can we zoom in? Can we zoom in on this, you guys?
Try to get the glare off of it. And if not,
we'll
so
get it.
is that yours? Have
It's
you been doing one as well?
No, this is
I've
hers.
just been. I get
helping
Nice picture
during
of
the podcast. I get stoned and I doodle. I don't know if there's Zoom. But
yeah. So that's where Kim's mind's at while all this is going on. I will say though, very talented at multitasking because it's not like you're not contributing. You are hopping in right in the middle of stuff. So
I'm on.
you're on top of your shit. Again, for those of you who want to follow a personal account, I'm at rmcguire13 on Instagram. What is New York? We're still building up the audience to that. Subway Creatures, if you're listening to this, hopefully you're already following that account. And now, most importantly, please subscribe, rate, share, tell your friends, your family about the Subway Creatures podcast. The sky is the ceiling for this, and we're only going to get bigger with your help at home. So please spread the word. You can find us on iTunes, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher. The list goes on and on. Anywhere there's music or podcasts, you will find us. So subscribe and download and listen and spread the word. Sending out this week is your music guest, Jamel NYT. He's an awesome musician and music producer. He's going to be doing his own rendition of Bruno Mars's Grenade. So take that out with you. And we will see you next week. Thank you and good night.
Bye.